Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Thank you.
Um, Hello. So today we will be starting from stewardship delegation. Um, so I'm starting, ma'am.
Oh, sorry.
Please do,
May I
please do.
know?
The
Sorry,
page
may I know
number.
page number?
Oh, so the page number is 107. Page number 107. Stewardship delegation. Have you found out?
Chapter name, may I know? 107 did not show
Chap-
chapter name.
chapter name is, yes, I'm telling. Chapter name is stewardship delegation. You can also 106. You go to 106 page, I think. 106. Yes, 106 page. Stewardship delegation. Have you found out?
I got it.
Yeah. So now I'm starting. Right. Stewardship delegation. So stewardship delegation is focused on results instead of methods. It gives people a choice of method and makes them responsible for results. It takes more time in the beginning, but it's time well invested. You can move the fulcrum over. You can increase your leverage through stewardship delegation. Stewardship delegation involves clear, upfront mutual understanding and commitment regarding expectations in 5 areas. So let's start. Desired results. So create a clear mutual understanding of what needs to be accomplished, focusing on what, not how, results and not methods. Spend time, be patient, visualize the desired result. Have the person see it, describe it, make out a quality statement of what the results will look like, and then by when they will be accomplished. Okay, now the guideline. Guidelines identify the parameters within which the individual should operate. These should be as few as possible to avoid methods delegation, but should include any formidable restrictions. You won't want a person to think he had considerable latitude as long as he accomplished the objectives only to violate some long-standing traditional practice or value that kills initiative and sends people back to the gopher's creed. Just tell me what you want me to do and I will do it. Okay. So until now, have you understood? Chandrasekhar? Hello?
Oh, I think in my PDF they shown another page number in 106 also. Steve,
No, in my PDF actually it's shown in 106.
topic name, you can say, repeat again once again.
See, topic name is stewardship delegation. Topic name.
Okay, okay, okay. I got. Yes,
Have
yes,
you
you
Aditi, if
can.
you
have you
can read a little longer and then you can ask.
okay, okay,
Yes,
okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'm continuing. So we have completed guidelines. So if you know the failure parts of the job, identify them. Be honest and open. Tell a person where the quicksand is and where the wild animals are. You don't want to have to reinvent the wheel every day. Let people learn from your mistakes or the mistakes of others. Point out the potential failure paths, what not to do, but don't tell them what to do. Keep the responsibility for results with them to do whatever is necessary within the guidelines. Resources. Identify the human, the financial, technical, or organizational resources that person can draw on to accomplish the desired results. Accountability. Set up the standards of performance that will be used in evaluating the results and the specific times when reporting and evaluation will take place. Then consequences. Specify what will happen, both good and bad, as a result of the evaluation. This could include such things as financial rewards, psychic rewards, different job assignments, and natural consequences tied into the overall mission in an organization. Okay, so this is about the five uh, object. What this is about? 5 areas where which the stewardship delegation involves. So have you understood the 5 areas? Chandrasekhar, have you understood?
Oh, not fully. I understood a little bit. Not like exact full meaning, but I now try to understand in next paragraph. You can read.
Okay, so I'm giving you an overview. So they are the five main principles. One is desired results, guidelines, resources, accountability, and consequences. Okay, so these are the main topics of stewardship delegation. So now I'm again continuing. Now you try to follow. Some years ago, I had an interesting experience in delegation with one of my sons. We were having a family meeting, and we had our mission statement up on the wall to make sure our plans were in harmony with our values. Everybody was there. I set up a big blackboard and we wrote down our goals, the key things we wanted to do, the jobs that flowed out of those goals. Then I asked for volunteers to do the job. Who wants to pay the mortgage? I asked. I noticed I was the only one with my hand up. Who wants to pay the insurance, the food, the cars? I seem to have a real monopoly on the opportunities. Who wants to feed the new baby? Now there was more interest here, but my wife was the only one with the right qualifications for the job. As we went down the list, job by job, it was soon evident that mom and dad had even more 64 work weeks. With that paradigm in mind, some of the other jobs took on a more proper perspective. My 7-year-old son, Stephen, volunteered to take care of the yard. Before I actually gave him a job, I began a thorough training process. I wanted him to have a clear picture in his mind of what a well cared forward was like. So I took him next door to our neighbors. Look, son, I said, see how our neighbor's yard is green and clean. That's what we are after, green and clean. Now come look at our yard. See the mixed colors? That's not it. That's not green. Green and clean is what we want. Now, how you get it green is up to you. You are free to do it any way you want, except paint it. But I'll tell you how I would do it if it were up to me. How would you do it, Dad? I would turn on the sprinklers, but you may want to use the buckets or a hose. It makes no difference to me. All we care about is the color is green, okay? Okay. Now let's talk about clean, son. Clean means no messes around, no papers, strings, bones, sticks, or anything that messes up the place. I will tell you what let's do. Let's just clean up half of the yard right now and look at the difference. So we got out 2 paper sacks and picked up one side of the yard. Now look at this side. Look at the other side. See the difference? That's called clean. Wait, he called. I see some paper behind the bush. Oh, good. I didn't notice that newspaper's back there. You have good eyes, son. Now, before you decide whether or not you are going to take the job, let me tell you a few more things. Because when you take the job, I don't want it anymore. It's your job. It's called a stewardship. Stewardship means a job with a trust. I trust you to the job to get it done. Now, who is going to be your boss? Okay. So, Chandrasekhar, have you, up until this, you understood the
Yeah,
story that,
yeah. I got.
wow,
Yeah. I understood this story.
nice, nice. Okay. Okay, now I'm continuing. Okay.
Yeah. Go on,
So,
go.
yes. So, who will be your boss? You, Dad? No, not me. You are the boss. You boss yourself. How do you like mom and dad nagging you all the time? I don't. We don't like doing it either. It sometimes causes a bad feeling, doesn't it? So you boss yourself. Now guess who your helper is. Who? I am, I said. You boss me. I do? That's right. But my time to help is limited. Sometimes I'm away, but when I'm here, you tell me how can I help? I will do anything you want me to do. Okay. Now guess who judges you? Who? You judge yourself. I do? That's right. Twice a week, the two of us will walk around the yard. You can show me how it's coming. How are you going to judge? Green and clean, right? I trained him with these two words for 2 weeks before I felt he was ready to take the job. Finally, the big day came. Is it a deal, son? It's a deal. What's the job? Green and clean. What's green? He looked at our yard, which was beginning to look better. Then he then pointed next door. That's the color of his yard. What's clean? No messes. Who's the boss? I am. Who is your helper? You are. When you have time. Who is the judge? I am. We will walk around 2 times a week and I can show you how it's coming, and what will we look for? Green and clean. Okay. At this time, I didn't mention an allowance. I wouldn't hesitate to attach an allowance to such a stewardship. 2 weeks and 2 words. I thought he was ready. It was Saturday, and he did nothing. Sunday, nothing. Monday, nothing. As I pulled out of the driveway on my way to work on Tuesday, I looked at the yellow, cluttered yard and the hot July sun on its way up. Surely he'll do it today, I thought. I could rationalize Saturday because that was the day we made the agreement. I could rationalize Sunday. Sunday was for other things. But I couldn't rationalize Monday. And now it was Tuesday. Certainly he would do it today. It was summertime. What else did he have to do? All day I could hardly wait to home. All day I could hardly wait to return home to see what happened. As I rounded the corner, I was met with the same picture I left that morning. And there was my son at the park across the street playing. This was not acceptable. I was upset, disillusioned by his performance after 2 weeks of training and all those commitments. We had a lot of effort, pride, and money invested in the yard, and I could see it going down the drain. Besides, my neighbor's yard was manicured and beautiful, and the situation was beginning to get embarrassing. I was ready to go back to Gopher's delegation. Son, you get over here and pick up this garbage right now, or else. I knew I could get the golden egg that way. But what about the goose? What would happen to his internal commitment? So I faked a smile and yelled across the street, "Hi, son, how is it going?" "Fine," he returned. "How's the yacht coming?" I knew the minute I would say it, I had broken an agreement. That's not the way we had set up an accounting. That's not what we had agreed. "How's the yacht coming?" I knew the minute I had said it, I had broken it. Oh, so it's twice. So he just felt justified in breaking it to. "Fine, Dad." I bit my tongue and waited until dinner. Then I said, "Son, let's do as we agreed. Let's walk around the yard together, and you can show me how it's going in your stewardship." As we started out the door together, as we started out the door, his chin began to quiver. Tears welled up in his eyes, and by the time we got out to the middle of the yard, he was whimpering. "It's so hard, Dad." "What's so hard?" I thought to myself, "You haven't done a single thing." But I knew what was hard: self management, self supervision. So I said, "Is there anything I can do to help?" "Would you, Dad?" He sniffed. "What was your agreement?" "You said you would help me if you had time." "I have time." So he ran into the house and came back with 2 sacks. He handed me one. "Will you pick that stuff up? Will you pick that stuff up?" He pointed to the garbage from Saturday night's barbecue. "It makes me sick." So I did. I exactly did what he asked me to do. And that was when he signed the agreement in his heart. It became his yard, his stewardship. He only asked for help 2 or 3 more times that entire summer. He took care of that yard. He kept it greener, cleaner than it ever had been under my stewardship. He even reprimanded his brothers and sisters if they left so much of gum wrapper on the lawn. Trust is a human a form of human motivation. It brings out the very best in people, but it takes time and patience. It doesn't preclude the necessity to train and develop people so that they so that their competency can rise to the level of that trust. I am convinced that if stewardship delegation is done correctly, both parties will benefit and ultimately much work will get done in much less time. I believe that's a family that is well organized, whose time has been spent effectively delegating on one-to-one basis, can organize the work so that everyone can do everything in about an hour a day. But that takes the internal capacity to manage, to want to manage, not just produce. The focus is on effectiveness, not efficiency. So Chandrasekhar, what did you understood of this story?
Starting story, both parents and son, like what they dad explained, green and clean.
Yeah,
He listened everything. But
yeah,
when time came, Saturday postponed and Monday also postponed. Tuesday will come. But that is became white person. So my son do one day, but the day when his dad found his son forget everything. Then dad remember while showing the garden, like had what is this? They remember this agreement.
yeah, yes, yes. Very good, Chandrasekhar. Very good. Okay. So I'm now moving on. Certainly, you can pick up. I'm convinced. Okay, last efficiency. Certainly, you can pick up that room better than a child. But the key is that you want to empower the child to do it. It takes time. You have to get involved in the training and development. It takes time, but how valuable that time is downstream. It saves you so much in the long run. This approach involves an entirely different or entirely new paradigm of delegation. In effect, it changes the nature of relationship. The steward becomes its own boss, governed by a conscience that contains a commitment to agreed upon desired results. But it also releases his creative energies towards doing whatever is necessary in harmony with correct principles to achieve those desired results. The principles involved in stewardship delegation are correct and applicable to any kind of person or situation. With immature people, you specify fewer desired results and more guidelines, identify more resources, conduct more frequent accountability interviews, and apply more immediate consequences. With more mature people, you have more challenging desired results, fewer guidelines, less frequent accountability, and less measurable but more discernible criteria. Effective delegation is perhaps the best indicator of effective management simply because it is so basic to both personal and organizational growth. Now, the quadrant 2 paradigm, the key to effective management of self or of others through delegation is not in any technique or tool or extrinsic factor. It is intrinsic. It is the quadrant 2 paradigm that empowers you to see through the lens of importance rather than urgency. I have included in the appendix an exercise called Quadrant 2 Day in the office, which will enable you to see in a business setting how powerfully this paradigm can impact your effectiveness. As you work to develop a Quadrant 2 paradigm, you will increase your ability to organize and execute every week of your life around your deepest priorities, to walk your talk. You will not be dependent on any other person or thing for the effective management of your life. Interestingly, every one of the 7 habits in this quadrant 2, interestingly, every one of the 7 habits is in quadrant 2. Everyone deals with fundamentally important things that, if done on a regular basis, would make a tremendous positive impact difference in our lives. Okay, now let's go to the 7 um, mm, important things. What this mentioned, 7 habits. What is mentioned in quadrant 2? First one is application suggestions. First one is identify a quadrant 2 activity you know identify a quadrant to activity you know has been neglected in your life, one that, if well done, would have a significant impact in your life, either personally or professionally. Write it down and commit to implement it. Second, draw a time management matrix and try to estimate what percentage of your time you spend in each quadrant. Then log your time for 3 days in 15 minutes intervals. How accurate was your estimate? Are you satisfied with the way you spend your time? What do you need to change? That is a second. Third, make a list of responsibilities you could delegate and the people you could delegate to or train to be responsible in these areas. Determine what is needed to start the process of delegation or training. That's the third. Fourth, organize your next week. Start by writing down your roles and goals for the week. Then transfer the goals to a specific action plan. At the end of the week, evaluate how well your plan translated your deep values and purposes into your daily life and the degree of integrity you were able to maintain to those values and purposes. Fifth, commit yourself to start organizing on a weekly basis and set up a regular time to do it. That is fifth. Number six, either convert your current planning tool into a fourth generation tool or secure such a tool. That is sixth. And then seventh, go through a quadrant 2 day at the office, appendix B, for a more in-depth understanding of the impact of quadrant 2 paradigm. Okay, so have you understood these 7 suggestions? Chandrasekhar.
Yeah. Understood.
Okay.
Such a, oh, the self responsibility is very important, and the time management, everything they given in these 7 points.
Yeah, everything that is necessary for you to like develop. Okay, so let's continue.
Yeah.
Paradigms of interdependence. There can be no friendship without confidence and no confidence without integrity. That is said by Samuel Johnson. Okay, so before moving into the area of public victory, we should remember that effective interdependence can only be built on a foundation of true independence. Okay, private victory precedes public victory. Algebra comes before calculus. Okay, now as we look back and survey the terrain to determine where we have been and where we are in relationship to where we are going, we clearly see that we could not have gotten where we are without coming the way we came. There aren't any other roads. There aren't any shortcuts. There is no way to parachute into this terrain. The landscape ahead is covered with fragments of broken relationships of people who have tried. They have tried to jump into effective relationships without the maturity, the strength of character to maintain them. But you just can't do it. You simply have to travel the road. You can't be successful with other people if you haven't paid the price of success with yourself. A few years ago, when I was giving a seminar on the Oregon coast, a man came up to me and said, "You know, Stephen, I really don't enjoy coming to these seminars." He had my attention. Look at everyone else here. Look at everyone else here. He continued. Look at this beautiful coastline, the sea out there, and all that's happening. All I can do is sit and worry about the grilling I am going to get from my wife tonight on the phone. She gives me the third degree every time I'm away. What did I eat? Where did I eat breakfast? Who else was there? Was I in meetings all mornings? When did we stop for lunch? What did I do during lunch? How did I spend the afternoon? What did I do for entertainment in the evening? Who was with me? What did we talk about? And what she really wants to know, but never quite asks, is who she can call to verify with everything I tell her. She just nags me and questions everything I do whenever I'm away. It's taken the bloom out of this whole experience. I really don't enjoy it at all. He did look pretty miserable. We talked for a while, and then he made a very interesting comment. "I guess she knows all the questions to ask," he said a little sheepishly. It was at a seminar like this that I met her when I was married to someone else. I considered the implications of his comment and then said, "You are kind of into quick fix, aren't you?" "What do you mean?" he replied. "Well, you would like to take a screwdriver and just open up your wife's head and rewire that attitude of hers really fast, wouldn't you?" "Sure, I would like her to change," he exclaimed. "I don't think it's right for her to constantly grill me like she does." "My friend," I said, "you can't talk your way out of problems you behave yourself into. We are dealing into a very dramatic and very fundamental paradigm shift here. You may try to lubricate your social interactions with personality techniques and skills, but in the process, you may truncate the vital character base. You can't have the fruits without the roots. It is a principle of sequencing. Private victory always precedes public victory. Self-mastery and self-discipline are the foundation of good relationship with others. Some people say that you have to like yourself before you can like others. I think that idea has merit, but if you don't know yourself, if you don't control yourself, if you don't have mastery over yourself, it's very hard to like yourself, except in some short-term psych up superficial way. Real self-respect comes from dominion over self, from true independence. And that's the focus of habits 1, 2, and 3. Independence is an achievement. Interdependence is a choice only independent people can make. Unless we are willing to achieve real independence, it's foolish to try to develop human relation skills. We might even have some degrees of success when the sun is shining, but when the difficult times come, and they will, we won't have the foundation to keep things together. Chandrasekhar, did you follow up to this? Understood?
Oh, yeah. But last paragraph we can, summarize the last paragraph. I don't follow. Some people say that you are like that paragraph.
Okay, some people say that you have to like yourself before you can like others. Like before you start liking others, you have to like yourself. Okay, you have to know yourself much better. Then only you can be able to understand others well. I think that idea has merit. This concept has merit, because if you don't know yourself, you don't have control over yourself. If you don't have mastery over yourself, it's very hard to like yourself, except in some very short term, psyched up, superficial way. Real self respect comes from dominion over self. Okay, and from true independence. So if you truly know yourself in the 2S code, then and then only you will have control over yourself. Okay, and that is the independence that we are talking about. So that's the focus of habits 1, 2, and 3. Independence is an achievement. Interdependence is a choice that only independent people can make. Unless we are willing to achieve real independence, it's foolish to try to develop human relation skills. We might try, we might even have some degree of success when the sun is shining. That means when we are on a good side. Okay, when we have luck on our side, then we can have some degree of accomplishments. But when the difficult times come, and trust me, they will, we don't have the foundation to keep things together. Okay, so now I'm continuing. The most important
Yes, yes, you
ingredient,
can.
yes, the most important ingredient we put into any relationship is not what we say or what we do, but what we are. That is the most important ingredient in any kind of relationships. And in our words and our actions come from superficial human relations technique, the personality ethic, rather than from our inner core, the character ethic. Okay. Other Others will sense that duplicity. We simply won't be able to create and sustain the foundation necessary for effective interdependence. The techniques and skills that really make a difference in human interaction are the ones that almost naturally flow from a truly independent character. Okay. So the place to begin building any relationship is inside ourselves, inside our circle of influence, our own character. As we become independent, proactive, centered in correct principles, value driven, and able to organize and execute around the priorities in our life with integrity, we then can choose to become interdependent, capable of building rich, enduring, highly productive relationships with other people, with other people. Yes. As we look at the terrain ahead, we see that we are entering a whole new dimension. Interdependence opens up worlds of possibilities for deep, rich, meaningful associations, for geometrically increased productivity, for serving, for contributing, for learning, for growing. But if you also, but is also where we feel the greatest pain, the greatest frustration, the greatest roadblocks to success and happiness. And we are very aware of that pain because it's very acute. It's acute. We can often live for years with the chronic pain of our lack of vision, leadership, or management in our personal lives. We feel vaguely uneasy and uncomfortable and occasionally take steps to ease the pain, at least for a time. But the pain is chronic. We get used to it. We learn to live with it. But when we have problems in our interactions with other people, we are very aware of acute pain. It is often intense and we want it to go away. That's when we try to treat the symptoms with quick fixes and techniques, the band aids of the personality ethic. We don't understand that acute pain is an outgrowth of deeper chronic problem. So acute pain is an outgrowth of chronic problems, underlying deeper chronic problems. And until we stop treating the symptoms we and start treating the problem, our efforts will only bring counterproductive results. We will only be successful at obscuring the chronic pain even more. Now, as we think of effective interactions with others, let's go back to our earlier definition of effectiveness. We have said it. It is a P over PC balance, the fundamental concept in the story of the goose and the golden egg. It is an interdependent situation. The golden eggs are the effectiveness, the wonderful synergy, the results created by open communication and positive interaction with others. And to get those eggs on a regular basis, we need to take care of the goose. We need to create and care for the relationships that make those results realities. So before we descend from our point of reconnaissance and get into habit 4, 5, 6, I would like to introduce what I believe to be a very powerful metaphor in describing relationships and in defining P over PC balance in an interdependent reality. Now, the emotional bank account TM. We all know what a financial bank account is. We make deposits into it and build into a reserve. Okay, so we make deposits and build into a reserve from where we can make withdrawals when we need to. An emotional bank account is a metaphor that describes the amount of trust that has been built up in a relationship. That is an emotional bank account. Okay, it's a feeling of safeness you have with another human being. If I make deposits into an emotional bank account with you through courtesy, kindness, honesty, and keeping my commitments to you, I will build up a reserve. Your trust towards me becomes higher, and I can call upon that trust many times if I need to. I can even make mistakes, and that trust level, that emotional reserve, will compensate for it. My communication may not be clear, but you will be very meaning. You will get my meaning anyway. You won't make it an offender for a word. When the trust account is high, communication is easy, instant, and effective. But if I have a habit of showing discourtesy, disrespect, cutting you off, overreacting, ignoring you, becoming arbitrary, betraying your trust, threatening you, or playing little, little, little teen god in your life, eventually my emotional bank account is overdrawn. The trust level gets very low. Then what flexibility do I have? None. I'm walking on minefields. I have to be very careful of everything I say. I measure every word. It's a tension city, Memo heaven. It's protecting my backside, politicking. And many organizations are filled with it. Many families are filled with it. Many managers are filled with it. If a large reserve of trust is not sustained by continuing deposits, marriage will deteriorate. Instead of rich, spontaneous understanding and communication, the situation becomes one of accommodation, where two people simply attempt to live independent lifestyles in a fairly respectful and tolerant way. The relationship may further deteriorate to one of hostility and defensiveness. The fight or flight response creates verbal battles, slammed doors, refusal to talk, emotional withdrawal, and self pity. It may end up in a cold war at home, sustained only by children, sex, and social pleasure, or image protection, or may even end up in open warfare in the courts, where bitter ego decimating legal battles can be carried on for years as people endlessly confess the sense of a former spouse. And this, in the most intimate, the most potentially rich, joyful, satisfying, and productive relationship possibly begin between two people on this earth. The P over PC lighthouse is there, and we can either break ourselves against it or we can use it as a guiding light. The most constant relationships like marriage requires our most constant deposits. With continuing expectations, old deposits evaporate. If you suddenly run into an old high school friend you haven't seen for years, you can pick up right where you left off because the earlier deposits are still there. But your account with people you interact with on a regular basis requires more constant investment. There are sometimes automatic withdrawals in your daily interactions or in the perceptions of you that you don't even know about. This is especially true for teenagers in the home. So, Chandrasekhar, have you understood emotional banking?
Yeah. But and should really is very important for this present generation also for us and other also. Emotional banking is very important in day-to-day life because they are
Yes,
living
yes.
in the society.
Hmm,
how,
true.
how should we react with parents and our neighbors and our the school teachers, anyone? It's very important. This how can we gain emotional banking is very important.
Yes, yes. Very good, Chandrasekhar. Very good. Okay, so I'm now continuing. Okay.
Yes,
Suppose
yes.
you have a yes. Suppose you have a teenage son, and your normal conversation is something like clean your room, button your shirt, turn down the radio, go get a haircut, and don't forget to take out the garbage. Over a period of time, the withdrawals far exceed the deposits. Okay. Now, suppose this son is in the process of making some important decisions that will affect the rest of his life, but the trust level is so low and the communication process so closed, mechanical, and unsatisfying that he simply will not be open to your counsel. You may have the wisdom and the knowledge to help him, but because your account is so overdrawn, he will end up making his decisions from a short-range emotional perspective, which will result in many negative long-range consequences. You need a positive balance to communicate on these tender issues. What do you do? What would happen if you start making deposits into the relationship? Maybe the opportunity comes up to do him a little kindness, to bring home a magazine on skateboarding, if that's his interest, or just to walk up to him, and when he's working on a project and offer help. Perhaps you could invite him to go to a movie with you, or take him out for some ice cream. Probably the most important deposit you could make would be just to listen without judging or preaching or reading your own autobiography into what he says. Just listen and seek to understand. Let him feel your concern for him, your acceptance of him as a person. He may not respond at first. He may even be suspicious. What's that up to now? What technique is mom trying on me this time? But as those genuine deposits keep coming, they begin to add up. That overdrawn balance is shrinking. Remember that quick fix is a mirage. Okay, building and repairing relationship takes time. If you become impatient with these apparent lack of response, of seeming ingratitude, you may make huge withdrawals and undo all the good you have done. After all we have done for you, the sacrifices we have made, how can you be so ungrateful? We try to be nice and you act like this. I can't believe it. It's hard to get impatient. It takes character to be proactive, to focus on your circle of influence, to nurture growing things, and not to pull up the flowers to see how the roots are coming. but they are really no quick fix. Building and repairing relationships are long-term investments. Okay. Six major deposits. Let me suggest six major deposits that build the emotional bank account. Understand first is understanding the individual. Really seeking to understand another person is probably one of the most important deposits you can make. And it is the key to every other deposit. So understanding the individual. You simply don't know what constitutes the deposit to another person until you truly understand that individual. What might be a deposit for you? Going for a walk to talk things over, going out for ice cream together, working on a common project might not be perceived as someone else as a deposit at all. It might even be perceived as a withdrawal if it doesn't touch the person's deep interests or needs. One person's mission is another person's minutia. To make a deposit, what is important to another person, to make a deposit, what is important to another person must be important to you as the other person is to you. You may be working on a high priority project when your 6 year old child interrupts something that seems trivial to you, but it may be important from his point of view. It takes habit 2 to recognize and recommit yourself to the value of that person, and habit 3 to subordinate your schedule to that human priority. By accepting the value he places on what he has to say, you show an understanding of him that makes a great deposit. I have a friend whose son developed an avid interest in baseball. My friend wasn't interested in baseball at all. But one summer, he took his son to see every major league team play one game. The trip took over 6 weeks and cost a great deal of money, but it became a powerful bonding experience in their relationship. My friend was asked on his return, "Do you like baseball that much?" "No," he replied, but I like my son that much. I have another friend, a college professor, who had a terrible relationship with his teenage son. This man's entire life was essentially academic, and he felt his son was totally wasting his life by working with his hands instead of working to develop his mind. As a result, he was almost constantly on a boy's back, and in the moment of regret, he would try to make deposits that just didn't work. The boy perceived the gestures and new forms of rejection, comparison, and judgment, and they precipitated huge withdrawals. The relationship was turning sour, and it was breaking the father's heart. One day I shared with him the principle of making what is important to the other person as important to you, as the other person is to you. He took it deeply to heart. He engaged his son in a project to build a miniature wall of China around their home. It was a consuming project, and they worked side by side on it for over a year and a half. Through that bonding experience, the son moved through that phase in his life and into an increased desire to develop his mind. But the real benefit was happened to the relationship. The real benefit was what happened to the relationship. Instead of a sore spot, it became a source of joy and strength to both father and son. Our tendency is to project out our own autobiographies, what we think other people want to need. We project our intentions on the behaviors of others. We interpret what constitutes a deposit based on our needs and desires, either now or when we were at a similar age or stage in life. If we don't interpret our effort as a deposit, our tendency is to take it as a rejection of our well-intentioned effort and give up. The golden rule says, "Do unto others as you would do, as you would have others do unto you." While on the surface, this could mean to do for them what you would like to have done for you. I think the more essential meaning is to understand them deeply as individuals the way you would want to be understood, and then to treat them in terms of that understanding. As as one successful parent said about raising children, treat them all the same by treating them differently. So, so did you understand? Understanding the individual
Yeah,
portion.
yeah. Yeah, can you repeat like last sentence that treat them all the same by treating them differently?
Yeah. So this
Uh,
is this is one as one successful parent said about raising children. You treat them all the same, but you treat them differently by treating them differently. So you have to really understand what the other person is trying. You can't just impose your objectives and your intentions on the other person. You also have to feel for that other person. You have to like what the other person is thinking. So that is what is mentioned in this paragraph. Understanding the individual, that is at the core of any kind of emotional bank account. Okay, that is a major deposit. You have to understand your individual, the person whom you are, like, wanting to make a relationship to, be it son, be it father, mother, whoever that is.
Argadeep, I will just step in for a second. Okay.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
Chandrasekhar, what the parent is saying is you're treating everybody the same. That means you understand that everybody is different. And if one child likes puri, doesn't mean the other child likes puri. So you are aware that one child likes puri and the other child likes dosa. So he treats it that way. That's what he means. That every child is he's being same to everyone in treating each of them as an individual, and not like just because one child likes dosa doesn't mean the other, you don't expect the other child also to like dosa, right? So
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
treating them individual. That say, I have two sons, Ganesh and Sanjay. I know Ganesh likes dosa and Sanjay likes something else. So I can't say just because Ganesh likes dosa that I should give Sanjay also dosa. So I accept. So that's what it means, that that you're treating them the same by treating them differently.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I got it. Nice, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Ma'am, shall I continue?
Yes, please, for another 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll have a discussion. Or
Okay.
if one second, how long is the rest of the this thing?
It's not much. Like this one, this attending to little things can be done, but then keeping commitments from there next day has to be then.
We'll do that later. We just finish whatever you think can be done in the next 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll have a discussion.
Okay. Attending to the little things, the little kindnesses and courtesies are so important. Small discourtesies, little unkindness, little forms of disrespect make larger withdrawals. In relationships, the little things are the big things. I remember an evening I spent with two of my sons some years ago. It was an organized father and son outing, complete with gymnastics, wrestling matches, hot dogs, orangeade, and a movie, the works. In the middle of the movie scene, who was then 4 years old, fell asleep in his seat. His older brother Stephen, who was six, stayed awake, and then we watched the rest of the movie together. When it was over, I picked Shane up in my arms, carried him up to the car, and laid him in the back seat. It was very cold that night, so I took off my coat and gently arranged it over and around him. When we arrived home, I quickly carried Shane in and tucked him into the bed. After Stephen put out his jammies and brushed his teeth, I lay down next to him to talk about the night out together. How would you like it, Stephen? Fine, he answered. Did you have fun? Yes. What do you like the most? I don't know. The trampoline, I guess. Uh, that was quite a thing, wasn't it? Doing some somersaults and tricks in the air like that. There wasn't much response on his part. I found myself making conversation. I wondered why Stephen wouldn't open up more. He usually did when exciting things happened. Was a little disappointed. I sensed something was wrong. He had been so quiet on the way home, getting ready for bed. Suddenly, Stephen turned over on his side, facing the wall. I wondered why and lifted myself up just enough to see his eyes welling up with tears. What's wrong, honey? What's it? What is it? He turned back, and I could sense he was feeling some embarrassment for the tears and his quivering lips and chin. Daddy, if I were cold, would you put your coat around me too? Of all the events of that special night out together, the most important was a little act of kindness, a momentary, unconscious showing of love to his little brother. What a powerful and personal lesson that experience was to me then and is even now. People are very tender, very sensitive inside. I don't believe age or experience makes much difference inside. Even within the most toughened and callous exteriors are the tender feelings and emotions of the heart. Chandrasekhar, did you understand this one? Understanding, attending to little
Uh,
things.
yeah, yes, yes, I understood. See, this is very important is last lines. Feelings and emotions are very important for caring for other also.
Yeah, in the entire night, what Stephen really mattered was when he saw that his father was putting that coat around his younger brother. So he was very he was very attached to that, and he thought that whether his father would do the same if he was in that position. So that was the entire like that was the most highlighting thing for him for that night. So that was very significant to his father, because he understood that even even the persons who demonstrate extreme form of callousness or toughened behaviors, they are very tender at their core. That is what is it.
Yes, yes, super. Such a nice reading today. I really enjoy today
Yes,
class. And also I really I take out the emotional banking, very important, because
yes, it's
if
very
like
important.
we sound everyone
Yeah,
see
yes,
some people like teachers or surroundings or any of our friends, we deposit positive things from ourselves, but sometimes we lose when we did negative things unknowingly we did, but that positive things will always gone.
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, yeah, very important emotional banking.
Yes, emotional banking is very crucial. You have to constantly make the deposits. So the deposits initially, your deposits have to be much more than comparison to your withdrawals. So then only you can reinforce. You can build up a character or build up a relationship where the other persons whom you are addressing can, they can also give you back the same way.
Yes, yes.
Very good, Kamishakar.
Yeah.
Very good.
So
You
there's
have.
actually a formula, okay, that
Mm.
says that you should, for a relationship to be healthy, they
Yes.
say every 7 positive positive events that happen will balance out 2 negatives. So always, if the positives are higher, the negatives can be balanced.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
really agreed, ma'am. This was because when I'm there in Mandiram, like Ramshamshan, I
Yeah.
did everything positive things, ma'am. Like I unknowingly I did negative things, like knowingly I am not follow routine, but the punishment not at all given for me. That but they given for others, for not they given for me, because I credited every positive things. So that the negative
Exactly.
things I'm not at all follow some routine, they gone away.
So what happens is this actually a proven a formula which behavioral scientists say that for every 7 positives balances out 2 negatives.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Chalo, it was a lovely reading, Argadeep. Taranjit, would you like to say something?
Mm. Good evening, ma'am. Good
Good
evening,
evening.
everyone. Yes, it was very true. Where the ATM thing that I would like to talk on was, it is really very true that to build trust, to build faith, deposits have to be more than the withdrawals. And what the treating part, I cannot recollect the sentence exactly, but Kanti ma'am gave a very perfect example that many a times treating them at the same time and treating them differently. It is we have to be very tactful at that time. Many a
Yeah.
time, she gave a perfect example of the puri and dosa. It
Yeah.
happens many a times, and 7 times positive and 2 times negative. Also, we have to work on that, because if that doesn't happen, the other person starts taking advantage of you. So this is very, very important. Agradeep, you read very nicely. Thank you so much for reading for us.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think we can close the meeting today.
Yeah. Good night.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Good night.
Good night,
Thank
ma'am.
you, Sandhya.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Bye.
Thank you. Good
Good night.
night.
Bye.